Uh-oh.
Hi, I'm Ossie from Three Monkeys Amps and Three Monkeys Solderless, home of the world's greatest patch cable kits for your pedal boards, for both your audio path and for your DC supplies. The only stripperless, if that's a good thing, the only stripperless cable system out there. No need to strip your cable, just pull out your cable, cut it to length, open this thing up, pull it out, screw it on, literally just screw it on, and when there you go, that's done. That's how I just made a cable. Okay, anyway, so check us out. We're giving Premier Guitar, I think they chose to pick us out to do a little review on, so we're happy about that. But check us out at 3monkeysolderless.com. Anyway, so we're back, and we're doing what we like to do, which is like goofing around with stuff and breaking things and just trying anything and being creative, see what goes together. And usually that revolves around chasing that tone, right? That's what we're doing here, is chasing that tone. And we have in here in this room in the Submarine Studio all kinds of crazy crap, right? All the things that you would probably need for making all kinds of guitar tones. We've got vintage amps, vintage cabinets, all kinds of pedals, aux boxes, Univox echo chambers, rack mount studio gear, old harmonizers, compressors, EQs, oh god, JBL speakers, Altec speakers, Jose Arredondo amplifiers. We got all kinds of stuff. But I think what I wanted to do today is I got this thing, right? I'm gonna go get it. I got this thing, and I want to build a Van Halen 1 rig around it, and it's this. This is called a Stone Deaf warp drive. Okay, and it's just a distortion pedal, really. But what kind of, I heard a buddy of mine playing had one of these things, right? And I played through it, and I was like, something's going on in there. So I went and got one, and what I like about it is, aside from the fact that it's like stupid over the top, it has basically like parametric EQs, right, for your tone shaping. So I thought that was really going to be useful for trying to like dial in a Van Halen 1 sound. And I know that since recent days we've been getting a lot of info. It's kind of like, oh, I don't know, like the CIA opened their files and we're finally figuring out who killed Kennedy, right? So all those Sunset Sound videos have been out there, and we're getting some new information, some old information, some conflicting information. So I still think there's some room for debate. I mean, I think that he was using, Marshall amplifiers, and I think there was probably a little bit more to that. And I also think there's more than one way to skin this cat. So we're always trying different things. We've got other videos in the catalog here on my channel of using, the Marshalls slaving together, Marshalls with aux box, Marshalls with, every combination, JBLs. I've got an ISO cab in another room with a JBL and Celestions in it. And I did a little bit of Feel Your Love in another video using those with my 50 watt just blasting, compressed with two 1176s slammed up, the whole 9 yards. And we're always trying to find different ways of getting to, this sound. So for this one, we figured let's see what we could do with this in a pedal board setting. We're not going to use an amplifier, right? That's kind of unconventional, but if you really think about it, an amplifier is just something that's creating a waveform, right? It's creating a waveform. There's nothing particularly special even about a guitar amplifier that would make it a guitar amplifier. It's really just a circuit, an old tube circuit that happened to have been used and created the sound. But there are other things that can do the exact same thing. And with the advent of these impulse response pedals, the amplifier isn't necessarily even really needed, right? So we're going to test that theory with this, right? We're going to go, this is going to be the amplifier. We're going to go right into this, and we're going to go out into an impulse response pedal, like a Hot One Omni IR. And then we're going to build a signal chain around it. We're going to build a custom mixer for it, right? A tube mixer, All right, so check that out. It's gonna be like a stereo, 3-channel sort of like mini console that'll sit on the board in a little case. So we're going to show you all of that kind of stuff. I got the kind of case, actually the stuff's right here. Right? I've got all the stuff up in the Teddy lab. We're going to build a console, right? A little stereo mixing console into this with the crap that's in here and with this here box. And that will sit on the pedal board. We're going to have some reverb in there. Let's say, like got over here, we got an LXP5 lexicon, so we can kind of simulate that chamber in the Sunset Sound. I know that there's been a Sunset Sound plugin that's become available, but this is a pedal board, so we're not going to be using that yet. We may find another way to do it in the near future. So we've got the warp drive, the Omni IR, the reverb. We're probably going to use 2 little Echoplex pedals and set them up in there as well. Maybe EQ, but I don't think we're going to need the EQ, considering that this has that parametric right there in there already. I think we're going to be able to dial in something pretty cool just from the pedal. Now in terms of guitars, well, we're going to try a bunch of different guitars maybe. So I brought out some of the Eddie type guitars that might be suitable for the first album that I've got, and we'll go through them. Let's pick the one that's nearest. This is kind of this is like a gold top, right? Les Paul. But it's got the Mighty Mite, right? This is the, this one I believe is the hotter one, the larger wound one. I get them confused. 1300 versus the other model. But this one is like the 13K pickup ceramic magnet in there. So we're going to go with the theory that maybe the Destroyer, before it was destroyed, had the Mighty Mite in it, right? For things like, for that song. So it'll have the Mighty Mite in the Les Paul for the short scale with the nickel strings, and give it a go with that. We'll also use this guy, which is my 1976. It's not an Ibanez, but it was made in the same factory. I think this is the only one I've ever seen. It's an Aria. Right? And this may have been like a dealer sample, because it came out of the same factory as the Ibanez's, and I've had this up against an Ibanez and pulled it apart. It's the same tooling, the same everything. It's basically the Ibanez Destroyer, and it has the Super 70 pickups in it. So we'll try this guitar in along with this guitar here, right? For the... And the funny thing about this thing is, I know why Eddie liked this. We're going all over the place here in this video, but I think the reason why Eddie liked this is this neck. It's kind of wide. It feels flat. I mean, it feels flatter than a Les Paul. I haven't put a radius gauge up against it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see if this thing was like a 14, right? But someone in the audience can probably key me in as to what the Ibanez's were. But it feels super flat, and the action you can get just stupid comfortable on it, right? And it stays in tune. Like this guitar, I never have to tune. It could sit in a case for years or out of the case. It could be summer, winter, fall, spring. Doesn't matter. It's just always in tune. I think part of the reason why it's in tune a lot, and the reason why I think it sounds really cool too, is that the neck itself, if you look at it, right? It's multi-laminate maple. Got multiple sort of pieces of maple. Let's see how many we got. 1, 2, 3. Let's go count at the headstock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically 4 for the shaft of the neck, right? And then 1 extra for the sort of the shoe up there. And I think that creates a very stable neck. And they've also got a pretty hefty truss rod, I think, in these two. I've looked at the adjustment, and it looks like a bigger sort of truss rod. The body, of course, is that sen wood that the Ibanez's were made out. Some people think that there were Carina ones out there made. I suppose that's possible. I've never seen one. I've only seen these in this sen sort of wood, right? And they sound great. Yeah, so we're gonna do the Super 70. We're going to do the Mighty Mite. Let's see what else we got here if we don't drop this on the floor and break it. Next would be like this guitar, right? So we've got the ash body, and this is the Mighty Mite Super Stud, the 1800. So I number down, right? This is the 1800 Super Stud, and this is the guitar that I used to record that little shot of Feel Your Love through the Marshall and the Altex and the compressors and all that stuff. So we'll try to and it has a steel Fender like 60s style vibrato on there, right, with the big block on there, nice steel block. So this will go for the theory of the Mighty Mite 1800 being in his guitar when they recorded that album, right? So we'll try that one out. Let me put this back over here. Another guitar that we could try out would be this guy over here, right? So we've got the hard ash. We have a Super Distortion, an old 70s Super Distortion in there, and then this funky sort of Fender bridge with the steel block. Right? This is another kind of... This one's got kind of a little bit of more grunt to its normal sound, to its natural acoustic sound. So we'll try that one out with the Mighty Mite 1800. Ooh, it did slip a little bit. And then we've got the hard ash guitar here. And this one is just an overwound PAF in there, so we could try that too. A mellow guitar, so we could try that one out. And lastly is the Frankenberry, right? And this one has the Frankenstein pickup in it, which I definitely don't think was in that guitar at the time that he recorded the album, but we can use it anyway. So those are our stable of horses that we're going to run for this experiment, and sort of see where we come out on the other side. I've been hearing a lot of cool clips out there that guys have been doing too, that have sort of written in the comments in the channels, and I've been checking that out, and people are definitely getting close. So this is sort of, you know, this is a cool thing. Yeah, so I think, is there anything else we want to talk about? Yeah, I mean, there was some interesting stuff, like if we talk about like the Sunset Sound videos that have come out recently, the overhead mic of Eruption, right? I think that was fairly significant, because this is the first time we've been able to hear sort of the room sound. I'm sure there was some processing on there, in the sense, you know, that this mic wasn't just, you know, like a camera mic. It still, you know, went through the studio gear that was there. Give us a sound, an idea of what the raw sound was, and as close as it is, and obviously that's the block, right? That is the base of the sounds of that album. It's still missing that extra bit of insanity and crunch, right? So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing that they may capture Don Landy somewhere and drag him into the studio and rubber hose him until he reveals the secrets of how he had the console and the compressors and all that kind of stuff set up. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and this is, you know, gonna be a little bit of a process, right? It's not gonna all happen in one day. I'm sorry about that with these, that sometimes they go on for weeks and weeks and weeks before you get to the cheeseburger at the end of the thing. But, you know, I want to take you along for the ride while making it. So I don't have anything done yet. I mean, we've just got aluminum boxes and an idea, right? So we're just going to go and build all this stuff and see where we end up. It could be a disaster, or it could be kind of fun. So stick around, and we'll see how it ends up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.